Hey, good morning everyone. Thought I would give an update since we've now got our part of our flooring in. The flooring that we, so everywhere where there was carpet, we had that ripped out, and we had a wood top flooring put in. That went pretty well. Jim had a kind of a hard time with it, just his, so for those of you who have already dealt with Alzheimer's, you know that any disruption in their day-to-day kind of sets them, not sets them off, but just disrupts their world, and they get all, how do I describe it? They just antsy and needing things to go back the way they were, and just almost kind of depressed and anxious. I guess anxious would be a better word. So anyway, we made it through. We got the flooring in. Landon survived. He kind of spoilt Jim while he was there because he brought him donuts. Jim loves donuts. So that's good. We kind of have everything, almost everything put back in, and they're kind of getting the rooms, all the like decorations and, you know, that stuff, the decor put back. Jim, this is kind of embarrassing, but we've lived in this house for like 10 years, 10 plus years. Jim has an office that I have never completely decorated. I mean, it's just been, it's kind of been an eyesore. I just haven't done anything with it. I don't know why. I just haven't. And that's one of the things that he's very adamant about right now. So, so for Christmas, we're getting him his desk. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be his Christmas gift or not, but regardless, we're going to get him a desk, and it'll really be our desk, but for him, it's his desk. We're going to get him his desk. I'm going to build some shadow boxes for things that he did, like his job. He had some awards and just the plaque from his retirement, and just different things from his job. I'm going to build some shadow boxes and put stuff in there. And then we've had a few trips that we have some memorabilia from, so I'm going to build one for that, and kind of hang it around and try to get his office up and going, and so that he'll feel like he has something that belongs to him. Last night, he's been sick. He's been really sick. He had an upper respiratory infection. So trying to get him over that has been a trial. He's finally turned the corner and getting a little bit better. It started on the 20th. So he's, like I said, not quite as bad. Today he's actually kind of laughing and going on. He had days where all he did was sleep, and he hasn't eaten hardly anything since Thanksgiving, I guess. So thank goodness we've turned that corner. So that made Thanksgiving weekend. So here, what I've realized is when I have vacation or I have time off work, it's really just a chance to get things caught up around the house. So it's really working, and it's getting up very, very early, and it's going to bed very, very late, just trying to get everything done and trying to get things put in order. So I finally got all the Christmas stuff out, and I'll have to do a video of our house. I've been accused of going a little overboard. So that's up, and he just loves it, and he talks about it every day. When I was putting the Christmas stuff out on Sunday, when he was feeling a little bit better, he got up to help me put our Christmas tree together, because I'm not strong enough to lift all the heavy pieces and put them in the cylinder. And he kept trying to put it up where we used to put it, like, I don't know, 3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago. And I realized that he had no idea that we even moved it and put it in a different spot. And I said something to him, like, you know, not thinking, like, you know, that it goes in this little cubby area. And he was like, no, we always have it in this spot where he was trying to put it. And I was like, no, we haven't had it there in like 3 or 4 years. And he just looked at me with like a lot of confusion. He got extremely teary and walked off. And then when he came back, I just let him go. When he came back, he said that he doesn't even remember it ever being there. So he said, I don't remember the last however many years of Christmas, which was kind of sad because he loves Christmas so much. And I don't know what I expect. That's just the way it works. But it's just another realization that this thing is here, and it's here, you know, it's just going to continue to get worse. And then on Sunday also, I was vacuuming after getting everything up in the living room, and I blew a breaker, and he had absolutely no idea how to reset the breaker. He just, in his mind, we needed to call the electric company because the electricity was out, even though half the house was lit and half the house wasn't. So that, I guess, part of his brain is starting to take a hit also. So last time I talked to you all, I failed to mention this, which is kind of scary and kind of scary that he would do this. One day, it's been a couple of weeks ago, I think I've told y'all, he likes to walk and pick up cans. So he took off walking, and my dad was doing his exercises and stuff, and Jim made sure Jim took his phone so my dad could call him. Well, my dad kept trying to call him and kept trying to call him and kept trying to call him, and Jim wasn't answering. So my dad kind of panicked and, you know, started to get in his truck to go drive around and try to find Jim, to figure out where he was. And, I mean, a lot of time had gone by. And where we live is called unincorporated Anna. And if you go from my house, you have to cross, I don't want to say a major highway, but it's a very busy road. It's, 120, Business 121. And, Jim had walked from our house all the way and crossed that road, and then had walked almost to Anna. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how far that is, but just let me assure you, it is a long way, a very long way. When I got home that day, it took him like a couple of days to recover from that. My dad did finally find him. I do have Life 360 on our phones, so I could have found him for my dad, but, you know, my dad didn't realize that, so he now does. And so if that happens again, then he knows to call me and I can help him find Jim quicker. And then last night, so I've noticed, these are some changes that I've noticed. His possessiveness, in which I knew that was going to come, his possessiveness over his stuff is getting heightened. And his feeling that people are starting to take his things, which, okay, sometimes that happens, but, you know, not all the time. But his feeling that people are taking his things are starting to heighten, which I knew that was going to come. That's just part of it. And then last night when I got home, I walked into him crying, and it was a lot. And I couldn't figure out, like, he was trying to tell me what was going on, but it wasn't making any sense whatsoever. Like, I could not figure out what was going on. So stupidly, which I know better, I was asking questions. I was trying to figure out if he was hurt or what happened, and all I could get from him was something about my dad, and my dad has an old barn that he's taken down in this barn, and something about a gate, and then something about my daughter and her husband, and it was extremely confusing, and he was so visibly upset. And so I finally had to walk down and talk to my mom and dad, and the only thing that we could figure out that was going on is my daughter and her husband are going to purchase some land for my dad to build a house by us, and in between my mom and dad and us. And my dad is taking down a very old barn that we've had, but my dad was saying, you know, the barn has had a lot of purpose in its years, that lots of people have had animals there, and da-da-da. And I don't know if Jim saw that as my dad being upset that he was having to take down the barn, or I'm not really exactly sure in his mind what happened that triggered him to be so visibly upset. But he was just, you know, he was upset for my dad. And such a sweet gesture, because they have gotten so close, and my dad takes really good care of him. So sorry. And it's just heartwarming to see that Jim has become so attached to them, and that he and my dad are bonding over such a horrible illness. So anyway, moving away from that, I started this week on pure exhaustion, which is part of, I've told you before, the emotional breakdowns come when I'm exhausted. And I have come to the realization that I'm only at the very tip of this, and I can't imagine what those of you who are dealing with this, that are in the middle to the end, are going through right now. I pray for y'all every day. I pray for all of us in this disease. So, with that said, I am on my way to work. Jim has a haircut today with my dad, and they have joined to the Social Security office, so he has things to do to keep him busy today. And I still am working with a financial advisor to move money around and get it safe, money that was invested safe, so that I will be able to pull that money for his care when I need to call somebody in. I'm praying that I will be able to find somebody that will be willing to come to the house and stay with him while I'm at work. And then as time progresses and it gets worse, I'm praying I can find somebody who will maybe want to stay at our house and help me, and just maybe live there or be there the majority of the time, or maybe multiple people, I'm not sure. But that's what we're working on right now, the financial advisor and I, just making sure that I have the money that will allow me to give him the best care that I can afford. Anyway, not to be depressing today or anything, I off to work to do what I do, and I hope that you all have an awesome day, and I will talk to you later.